Hey everyone, and welcome back to Mysteries in the Dark. I am your host, Luna Sparks, and I am here with my co-host, Omar Trekker. Today's topic is Lost Landmarks. Today, Omar and I are taking a deep dive into a place that truly captures the imagination. The Ambassador Theater in downtown St. Louis. I mean, Omar, just the name Ambassador Theater conjures up images of grandeur, doesn't it?
Absolutely, Luna. And grandeur really doesn't even begin to cover it. We're talking about a building that was, in its heyday, a true palace of film and spectacle. Not just a movie theater, but a statement piece, a monument to a specific era of entertainment and architectural ambition. It's wild to think what stood there.
It really is. Opened in 1926, designed by the famed Chicago firm Rap and Rap, these guys were the titans of theater design, responsible for some of the most opulent picture palaces across the country. And the Ambassador was no exception. This wasn't just a cinema. It was a 3,000-seat behemoth occupying the first 6 floors of a soaring 17-story office tower. Imagine that scale.
17 stories. That's incredible. And it wasn't just about the size, it was the vision behind it. This wasn't just another commercial building. The whole project was spearheaded by the Skouras brothers, Spyros, George, and Charles. They were Greek immigrants who, honestly, embody the classic American dream story. They started from humble beginnings and rose to become these captains of the cinema industry.
Their story is almost cinematic in itself, isn't it? They dreamed of a palace that could go head-to-head with anything you'd find in New York or Chicago. It wasn't just for showing movies. They envisioned a space for pageantry, for live orchestras, for grand performances. And they really delivered. From the outside, you had these incredible terracotta griffins, these mythical guardians, watching over the city from the building's facade.
Right, the griffins. It's like they were literally guarding the treasure inside. And when you stepped inside, I mean, the descriptions are just mind-blowing. Silver leaf-coated ornament everywhere, a Wurlitzer organ with jeweled lights. Can you even picture that? And the auditorium itself, with those sweeping curves and luminous domes, giving the ceiling the illusion of a cosmic night sky. That's just next level.
A cosmic night sky. Think about sitting there watching a silent film, then later a talkie, under that kind of immersive beauty. It really transported you. But you know, with all that opulence, all that grandeur, there's always a flip side. Stories start to blur into legend, especially in places that held such importance for so many people over decades.
Oh, tell me about it. And the Ambassador has some truly fantastic, if slightly spooky, legends. One of my favorites involves that gargantuan Wurlitzer organ. Staff and even some guests would whisper that it sometimes seemed to play itself. You know, the pipes rumbling in the empty quiet, long after the concerts had ended. Like distant thunder, they'd say.
That's enough to give you chills, honestly. Especially late at night, when you're a custodian, alone in that massive space. And apparently the great console's jeweled lights would flicker without power. Now there's no official record, no formal documentation of what caused it, but the effect was clearly enough to send shivers down people's spines. It adds to that whole haunted palace vibe, doesn't it?
It totally does. You can imagine the stories being swapped amongst the night crew. Did you hear that? Did you see the lights? Even if there was a perfectly logical explanation, the sheer atmosphere of the place, combined with those unexplained occurrences, just fuels the imagination. It's almost like the theater itself had a living presence.
A living presence that definitely adapted over time. The Ambassador wasn't static. It kept up with the changing tastes. In the 1950s, they installed Cinerama screens, embracing the widescreen revolution. Then, by the 1970s, it transitioned into a major concert venue, hosting some seriously big names.
Yeah, like Bob Marley and the Wailers in May of '76. That's legendary. Imagine seeing Marley in that opulent setting, with those cosmic domes overhead. But of course, with rock concerts, especially in the 70s, came a different kind of spectacle. I heard there were even occasional unruly streakers whose antics became part of the building's eccentric legend.
Oh, absolutely. The tales of streakers are definitely part of the ambassador's wilder, more rock and roll era. It shows how the building evolved, from a refined picture palace to a place where, shall we say, inhibitions were sometimes left at the door. It's a testament to its versatility, even as downtown districts started to change.
It's like the building itself absorbed all these different energies, and even as attendance started to fall and the big productions began fleeing the aging downtown district, the ambassador just seemed to accumulate more oddities. I'm thinking about those stories of unexplained shadows.
Ah, yes, the phantom shadows. Patrons exiting late, they would apparently show photographs they'd taken of unexplained shadows at the back of the auditorium. Dark silhouettes, with no obvious source, captured on film opposite the stage. Whether it was theater ghosts or just trick light and memory, those images really circulated among local collectors long after the house lights dimmed for good.
That's fascinating. You take a picture, and suddenly there's something in the frame you didn't see with your naked eye. It plays into that idea that certain places retain an imprint of the past, or maybe the collective energy of thousands of people over decades. I mean, 3,000 seats, filled night after night for almost 60 years? That's a lot of human energy.
A huge amount. And you start to wonder if those echoes really do linger. But by the 1980s, the writing was on the wall, you know? Maintaining a palace in a city that was increasingly drifting towards the suburbs was just an enormous feat, economically and logistically. It's a sad truth that even the grandest buildings can't always defy urban shifts.
Yeah, it's a familiar story for a lot of these grand downtown theaters. Even being listed on the U.S. National Register of Historic Places in 1983 couldn't save it. Plans for restoration just kept faltering. And then came the inevitable. In 1989, the building's interior decor was auctioned off, piece by piece, Luna. Chandeliers, plasterwork, staircases, even old sheet music. It's heartbreaking to imagine.
It really is like watching a magnificent beast slowly being dismantled. Each piece sold, each fragment scattered, carrying a tiny bit of its history with it. But even in its final years, and particularly during its demolition, the ambassador had one last peculiar episode to offer.
Oh, you mean the demolition itself? I remember hearing about that. It's almost like the building itself was actively resisting its fate. The contractor tasked with bringing it down was apparently genuinely surprised by the sheer strength of those concrete-filled steel trusses. They just wouldn't budge under the wrecking ball.
Exactly. It required a massive crane to remove them, long after the demolition was supposed to be finished. It's like the skeleton of the building itself had absorbed so much of that initial ambition, that immigrant dream, that it refused to be erased without a fight. A final, stubborn act of defiance.
It's poetic, isn't it? The same ambition that built it, that made it so grand and structurally sound, became the very thing that made it so difficult to tear down. It almost sounds like a metaphor for its enduring legacy, refusing to truly disappear.
A perfect metaphor, actually. Because even after the Ambassador Theater completely vanished in 1997, its fragments didn't just disappear. They became these talismans of memory, pieces of terracotta, sculptural details. They were salvaged and repaired by preservation groups. They were destined to outlive the very plaza that replaced the theater. That's a powerful statement.
It really is. It means parts of the Ambassador are still out there, in some form, telling their story. And even at the site itself, nothing remains at the corner of 7th and Locust except open space today. But the stories, they absolutely persist. It's not just concrete and steel. It's what it meant to people.
That's the magic of these places, isn't it? Some St. Louis historians claim that on quiet nights near the old site, you can almost hear whispers of the organ pipes or feel the echo of an audience applauding long-ended shows. Now, whether that's purely imagination or something stranger, You can't deny the power of that legend.
You really can't. It's almost like the building left an energetic imprint, a cultural ghost. It speaks to the profound impact it had on the city, on the people who experienced it. The Ambassador Theater's blend of luxury, mystery, triumph, and ultimately, loss, ensures its legend keeps living on in the city's memory. It's more than just a building, it's a story.
It absolutely is a story, one that continues to captivate. Thank you, Omar, for sharing this incredible journey through the Ambassador Theater's past with me. And thank you all for tuning in to Lost Landmarks. We hope you enjoyed this dive into St. Louis history and mystery. Don't forget to join us next time as we uncover another forgotten gem.
Yeah, thanks for listening, everyone. Keep those ears open for the echoes of history. We'll catch you on the next episode of Mysteries in the Dark.